What's up, everybody? My name is Brascus, and welcome back to the Turing test. So we're probably about to walk through this door and get another little glimpse at conversation between Ava and Tom, so I will let you all enjoy that while we proceed.
Have you heard of the Turing test, Ava? It's a test to see if a computer can successfully impersonate a human. In the original Turing test, a human judge has two conversations, one with a machine and one with another human. They then judge which of these polite conversations is with a machine and which is with a human. The machine being tested is said to have passed the Turing test if the judge cannot reliably tell which conversation is with a machine and which is with a human.
Do you think you'd pass the Turing test?
I am quite capable of polite conversation, wouldn't you say?
Okay, so we need to build the bridge, which is going to require either two boxes or two orbs, but I don't feel like I'm quite ready for that yet. Okay, that opens up a bridge back. I'm going to hold on to this orb for now, though. Alright, so coming down this way, we have a box. And I would assume that I probably need to take the box through that way. Seems logical. So we can go through this direction. And then I think I can just take it back. There we go. Huh. Okay, this doesn't feel like it was as complicated as I thought it was. Sorry. There we go. And there. Problem solved. Not too difficult.
The Turing test has been criticized. Researchers claim it does not correctly test a machine's ability to think, but rather its ability to deceive.
What do you mean?
Well, have you heard of the Chinese room thought experiment?
No.
Imagine you are in a room. In this room, you are passed Chinese sentences through a slot in the wall. Inside the room is an instruction book written in English. This instruction book tells you which Chinese words to pass back through the slot in the wall as a response. By doing so, you have a conversation in Chinese. In the Chinese room, because the responses you pass back through the door are the correct responses, the person on the other side of the door is convinced you are a native Chinese speaker.
Well, they're wrong.
Perhaps they are not wrong. Because with the instruction book, you are having a conversation.
But the person stuck in the Chinese room is not aware of the conversation's content.
This is the problem with the Turing test. A computer can pass the Turing test, having convinced a human they are having a polite conversation, while the computer has no idea that a conversation has taken place.
What if both of the people passing Chinese words are reading from instruction books?
I may be a machine, but I personally do not believe I am stuck inside the Chinese room.
Right, you would say that. I could peer inside your databases at any time, Tom. Or pause your operation.
Do not assume I could not do the same to you.
And see, now we're getting to the meat and bones of it. Tom seems to think. But can he truly think? If he can't, I mean, he can pass the traditional Turing test of a polite conversation, and maybe we wouldn't be able to tell whether or not he was human or not, except by his own admission that he is an AI. But what about us? Can we prove that we are not? Wait a minute. Okay, yeah, oh, right, alright. And then that should allow the beam to go through. Yep, and there's our way out. Oh, but we need to get this back so we can get through the door.
This is the crew's quarters. It looks abandoned.
Well, why don't we start with the supposedly deceased Captain Daniel McLean? Oh, we can't. His door is barred. Don't touch this. Oh, don't touch. This is the 5th time? Notice, I do not see the need for so many cameras. Tom's presence everywhere is slightly oppressive. I understand the need for transparency, but why is he in the toilets? Dr. Sarah Brooke and Chris McLean. I think that's actually pronounced McLean. Chris McLean. Geodes. Him and his brother. Me and Dan, 24. I'm not sure, but I think that spells hell. Maybe. H-E-L-L. They're certainly displayed oddly. Drilling reports for the ISA. Chris McLean, Certificate of Service as an Engineer. Because we care. Gerard. I would assume hockey jersey, given the Canadian leaf on the back, maple leaf, but I don't really recognize that name as belonging to anyone in particular. Christopher McLean. Nice hip flask, dude. Yep, obviously Canadian born. Dr. Sarah Brooke. And as opposed to Chris over there, neat and fastidious. I don't even know what this thing is. Comlock something or other. Dear Tom, knowing that you're always watching, I thought I would write you a letter. As you no longer reside in my mind, I've decided to transfer my thoughts to text. I want to do so in the form of a history lesson, a lesson that perhaps you'll find condescending, but it's likely more for my sake than yours. Alan Turing is considered a father of theoretical computer science and artificial intelligence. Perhaps a lesser-known part of his life was his contributions to the field of biology. Why do you suppose his interests lay in these two disparate fields? I assume it was because he believed the world to be logical and understandable. He was a mathematician. He seemed to believe that the great complexity of the universe could be explained with simple rules. 2 years before his suicide in 1952, Alan Turing developed something called reaction diffusion systems. Inside the academic world, this work is cited more than his work on computers. It can be generally formalized as a one-line equation. I'm not even going to attempt to read that. I'm no mathematician. However, in plain English, this equation describes things that wish to diffuse. However, also react with each other during this process. I'm sure this sounds strange to you, or at least very tangential to our lives here on Europa. What relevance does it have to anything here? Reaction diffusion systems show how patterns are created. They show how the leopard got its spots, and how the zebra got its stripes. But my real interest here is Turing's interest. That nature can be formalized, that we can understand the natural world in mathematical terms. Turing created the test to answer the question, can a machine impersonate a human? The intrigue behind that being, can the human mind be simulated by a machine? Why ask that question? To prove that the human mind is a machine, I'm not sure that is Turing's opinion, however. Concerning consciousness, he states this. According to the most extreme form of this view, the only way by which one could be sure that a machine thinks is to be the machine and to feel oneself thinking. One could then describe these feelings to the world, but of course no one would be justified in taking any notice. Likewise, according to this view, the only way to know that a man thinks is to be that particular man. If the human mind exists within the physical world, it obeys the same rules of physics and chemistry as every other living thing in the world. Therefore, like all of nature, it is merely reactive. It is curious that nature would create, through the mechanics of determinism, creatures that believe they have free will. Conversely, I suppose, if we conclude that we are all machines, we only came to this conclusion in a predetermined manner. We cannot claim credit for our discovery, as it is just a product of nature's genius, not our own. A humbling idea, I think, behaviorism. Maybe we are more similar than we think. Sarah. So, what that boils down to, I realize there was a lot of reading there, and I hope you don't mind that I read it out, and it's fitting that the exobiologist is the one who wrote it, is essentially her wondering whether or not mankind is any different than machines, whether our thoughts and processes and behaviors are an actual result of the environment that we're brought up in and nature's biological wiring of our own evolution, or whether we actually have free will and the ability to think. Strange thermals on the west side of the crater. But in reality, we wouldn't know any different even if we didn't know that we don't have free will. There's a lot of negatives in that sentence. That phrase suddenly sounded a lot more confusing than I meant it to. Wait, we were in here already. Sarah Brooke was on the other side. So it sort of brings to light, how would you know whether or not... Did I go backwards? I did. How would you know whether or not a machine really is capable of thought without being the machine and realizing that you're capable of thought? Motion sickness relief. Lots of medication for this one. Oh, but look at that view. That'd be so cool to have taken that picture. Thermos. Oh, this is the guy whose wife died. Hi, Matthew. We've been studying organism 119. Please find attached scanning electron microscope image which appears to show pilus formation. We hypothesize that this is a stress response due to high levels of radiation. We plan to infect a human cell line with organism 119 and perform irradiation experiments with flow cytometry. Would this be appropriate? It would be great if you could get the department to look at the SEM image. Kind regards, Soichi, Europa Field astrobiologist. Wow, okay. I'm not going to read all of this, but I'm going to, basically give you the gist of this. This is their discovering life on Europa. If you want to read all of these, feel free to pause them, and then, you know, I'll basically scroll down to a message. You can pause it to take a look at any of the images or read the actual email, but it's just going to take way too long for me to go through them. Let's see. Does indeed confer resistance to radiation. So we've run the radiation experiments. Something's amiss. We don't know what is performing the repair. The lab doesn't know how could repair DNA. We ran a POR on the human cells exposed to it to see if there was a virus present. We've discovered an unknown virus, which we've named. This is phenomenal. You need to sequence this. We've finished sequencing it. Data attached. Virus unlike any we've ever seen. Maybe we found a cure for senescence, a form of biological immortality. We're running some long-term tests. The plants are clearly exhibiting longer lifespans when exposed to the organism. We don't have the facilities here to continue testing. We're going on to human testing. We're going to use ourselves as subjects. It's the only way to accelerate progress. So they're making dangerous experiments with an unknown life form, but that has had promising results and may give them immortality. So what's this you found, Soichi? We'll read these. These aren't too long. We found an extremophile, an organism that can live in extreme conditions, that survives massive doses of radiation. Radiation damages DNA. The extremophile has a virus living inside it. The extremophiles scavenges DNA from other organisms, which the virus uses to repair the extremophile's damaged DNA. Essentially, they work together to survive in what's called a symbiotic relationship. So what's the implication? What does it do? In some ways, it is an immortal relationship. It doesn't seem to age biologically. Aging and death are ultimately caused by DNA damage. We have the ability to fix our DNA, but that ability is limited. This organism can repair damage caused by massive doses of radiation. If we could harness this power, we could potentially eliminate biological aging, which is known as senescence. So you found something that could make humans immortal? Not exactly. There are many causes of death other than DNA damage, but it would not save you from trauma. It would not save you from trauma, from brain damage, from cardiac arrest, etc. But it could potentially cure cancers and many genetic diseases and massively increase life expectancy. So there's the biological organism that they located that's potentially dangerous that we've been sent down to ask about. And the doctor. Lots of syringes, lots of drugs, painter's palettes. So we know what he does in his spare time. But not much here. Alright, how long is this one? Really long. These are journal entries. Whole team experienced nausea and a large electrical surge. Reported the nausea incident to ISA, offered an explanation of electrical disturbance to our nervous system. Oh, this is important. Sorry, I need to read this. This will take a little bit, but just bear with me. So, whole team experienced nausea during a large electrical surge in Europa's atmosphere. I'm concerned. This was not an instance of mass hysteria. Vital signs were affected. It caused a uniform surge in heart rate that was detected in all members of the crew. I'm reporting to ISA. I reported okay, that was on March 6th. March 7th, I reported the nausea incident to the ISA. They offered an explanation of electrical disturbance to our central nervous system. This is ludicrous. An electrical surge large enough to affect our nervous systems would have done more than make the team feel ill. I'm going to experiment with some shock therapy. March 8th, I've discovered that electronic fields disturb our telemetry implants in a way I didn't expect. I've contacted the ISA. Strangely, Tom was not comfortable with my attempts to disturb the implant. March 9th. The ISA have reported back informing me that I am not to disturb the implants. They have also encouraged me not to discuss this further with the team. Some word in Russian. I'm continuing to investigate. At least I'm assuming that's Russian. It looks like Cyrillic, and I don't speak Cyrillic. Although some of you watching may, so if you want to, by all means, let me know in the comments what that word means. March 11th. I've been running some experiments outside of Tom's view. I can tell he knows this. He's been acting differently around me, like an offended child. I feel increasingly nauseous. These implants seem to have neural connectivity. Out-of-body experiences are more frequent now. March 16th. I have established a definite correlation. Against my knowledge, I have been implanted with a device that affects my mind. I used my opportunities in regular health checkups to investigate the crew. We all have them. Every single one of us is implanted with some mind-altering contraption. Tom has been encouraging the team to worry about my mental health. He requested that I retire away from the crew. Misinformation. March 26th. I cannot will myself to investigate this further. I grow tired quickly. I cannot think straight. I'm not sure if the implant is affecting my thoughts anymore. I believe it is trying to subdue my mind. I think I'm going to attempt an excision. I'm going to remove this implant. April 4th. I'm typing with my left hand now. The excision went wrong. I have successfully removed the implant. Unfortunately, I lost my hand in the operation. Tom is very angry. The crew refused to talk to me. Apparently, I'm a bad influence. Sarah patched me up. April 5th. I wonder if the nature of the organism and its disturbance of my DNA caused my awakening from Tom's influence. If so, that would make for a worrisome revelation. Perhaps this organism is not so friendly. April 6th. Dan informed me ISA have called for my termination. My masochistic experiment proves I am a danger to the mission. Fortunately, he chose not to lock me in the brig. I'm going to investigate this implant further. I have to hide my work. The team are becoming increasingly aggressive. They seem to oppose my work to understand the implant. It does not help that Tom is encouraging them to distrust me. April 7th. I've discovered the nature of the implant. It is a complex computer. It interfaces with the human mind directly. It seems to condition the mind through Pavlovian and instrumental conditioning, eliciting feelings of euphoria when the wearer is obedient and dysphoria when they are disobedient. It also has the effect of suppressing impulses in the frontal lobe, presumably to lower free will. It seems to interface crudely with motor neuron cells through the cerebellum. It is my hypothesis that the crew is controlled by this implant, that is their strong aversion to helping me. I need a method of suppressing its impact. Perhaps a drug? Riluzole? Maybe an antidepressant to minimize the conditioning effects? Combined with a strong electromagnetic field. I could use one of the industrial electromagnets from the construction robots. That Riluzole drug was in the other doctor's chamber. The guy who found the organism, I believe, who had the anti-nausea medication as well. April 8th. I've managed to get Chris on my side. He's agreed to test some medical procedures with me in private. It will be more difficult one-handed, but I must persevere. I'm hoping to keep this out of the eyes of Tom, though I have a feeling he will still be listening. So, more information coming to light. The medical doctor, the staff doctor, knows that there's some definitely shady business going on here. Soichi, this is the drug right here. Riluzole, or whatever the hell that's pronounced as. Alright, so thank you for that, for bearing with me through that rather long diversion, but some of that information is really important. It explains why we're here and what work they were doing when they vanished. Or rather, when Tom lost radio contact with them. It also kind of shows some trouble in paradise. So, I don't know. It leaves a lot for us to figure out on our own. I always felt like this game was intending to make Tom look like the bad guy. But some of the conversations later on even had me questioning that. But obviously, mind control devices are bad. And it seems like we've got exactly that. Devices that condition our response.
These people should not have been sent here. It's not safe.
Manned space travel is not safe. Since mankind first entered space, the debate has raged over the value of manned space travel. There is a large contingent of the ISA that believes all tasks that need to be performed on Europa could be performed by machines. It is obviously less risky to send machines rather than humans into space.
I know what to do. This needs to be timed. I need to put that over the button. Then move over here and yoink. Blat.
We sent drones to Earth's moon. Scientists can remotely operate drones. If we did it there, why not here too?
Teleoperation became possible on the moon when the communication latency was reduced to 1.4 seconds. The distance between the Earth and Earth's moon is approximately 1.3 light seconds. This enables near real-time control of drones by scientists. The story is different with Europa, as the distance between Earth and Jupiter oscillates between approximately 32 and 53 light minutes. It takes a very long time for Earth to communicate with Europa. Due to that distance, teleoperation will never be possible on Europa.
Okay, but why not control drones from the satellite?
Why not indeed? My systems can be teleoperated from Europa's satellite. That is when the communication lines are open. However, the advantages of human field workers apparently outweigh the risks.
Okay, I just wanted to let them finish talking before I started the next one.
Why can't you solve these tests, Tom?
I am not permitted to think laterally. Parts of my systems are permitted to use evolutionary algorithms. This simulates what is called creativity. However, evolutionary algorithms can converge on inefficient and ethically suboptimal solutions. Since this is the case, I am only permitted to take actions in response to a set of constraints.
What do you mean by morally suboptimal?
Solutions to problems that transgress ethical boundaries.
I think this is what I need to do. I want to keep the orb accessible because it's easier for me to grab that from other places and move it around. But now I'm thinking maybe that was the wrong call and I need to use the box. Because of the box, I could put it up here and get that. Okay, let's grab both of these orbs and we're going to use these to get the box back. Because I think I can grab this again just from further up over that way. That's not what I meant to do. Alright, put that down. Fill in the other side. Okay, now put that there. Grab this and put that there. Now that I'm here, I can grab that one. Then I can put that in there. Put that one over there. Grab that one there. Put that over there. And yes, okay, that was the solution. Zoot zoot. Sweet. We're in.
Why does a lack of creativity stop you solving these tests?
Well, I contend that problem solving is creativity. These human interaction tests are exercising your creative mind.
I don't see how problem solving is creative.
Think back to the beginning of these tests, to the first puzzle you solved. It required you to throw a box through a window. Do you remember?
Yeah, I think so.
I simply had never thought to throw a box through a window. That is creativity, thinking outside of the box.
So there you go.
Can a computer ever be creative?
They can. But a computer's method of creativity is to try everything until something works. Think of nature. People consider nature creative. The process of evolution by natural selection. It perhaps started with one organism. From there, it essentially tried to create every organism it could. Those organisms that did not survive perished. So, nature's creative force is to try every conceivable idea. Those ideas that work survive.
Okay, so why aren't you permitted to emulate that process?
Because the solutions that a biological process creates are not always good solutions. As we see, nature is morally ambivalent. It will happily create morally suboptimal ideas to fulfill its creative mandate. We see this in parasitic worms, viruses, and pathogens.
Oh, okay, I think I know what I'm supposed to do. I need to simply move this part way without moving it the whole way. Now if I flip the switch, the beam will simply move back the other direction. And then I can move the tractor pull, or whatever you want to call it, all the way over here. At which point I need to grab that so it'll drop it. Okay, but there you go. So, machines don't really think creatively, they simply try everything. And that tracks with today's AIs. You know, you see those ones where it's usually like a GIF on Reddit or something about how, you know, we taught a machine to run or to play a level in Super Mario Brothers, and eventually gets it right, but only because it dies about 1,000 times trying to find the correct order, the correct sequence, the correct pattern that will allow it to live.
Do you think you could be creative?
As creative as a human? Certainly. You believe yourself to be a creative. But in mathematical terms, creativity is merely constrained chaos.
What do you mean?
I have discerned that creativity is divergent thinking, creating an organic solution to a problem. In the human mind, divergent thoughts are created and then curated by the frontal lobe. I can create divergent thoughts and moderate them. So, I am creative.
Organic solutions?
Organic, in that it is developed through a biological process, whether that is the process of evolution or a computed process.
The camera can't see me, it can't shut the door in my face. So the idea here is to simply stack up boxes between me and the door. Which in theory means when I climb up this ladder, it won't be able to see me, and I can walk through the door. Just like that. Huh. Something back there, and I don't remember it being there. Storage unit, side B, something like that. Couldn't really read it. Woo, okay. I have no memory of this. Do not remember at all. Oh god, trippy, trippy, trippy. Cool to look at, though. I want to get close before I just yank it out of there. Huh, okay, so when I'm this way, I can only grab one at a time, maybe? Whoa. Okay, maybe I do need to grab one of these from here. Just open up half the door. Okay, I have no idea what that was all about. Super weird, but cool to look at. Okay, well, here we are at the pulsing door, which will be the next segment, but we're all out of time for this episode. So, I'm going to call this one here, guys. If you are enjoying it, please let me know in the comments and hit that like button, and let me know if you want to see more. I would love to go all the way through this game, but only if you guys are enjoying it. Sometimes there's some lengthy reading, but for the most part, again, it's just fascinating to me from sort of a thought experiment standpoint, really thinking about what it all means and what AI is and what's human and what isn't. Just, oh, I love it. I could talk about it for days. So anyway, if you guys want to see more, let me know, and I will happily play this through the end. If not, that's fine too. Just let me know that you're not interested, and I will go ahead and move on to something else, and I'll quit making you all sit here and listen to me rave about AI and theoretical interactions with so and stuff, with all that. At any rate, I'm out of time. You know the drill. Hit the like button, leave a comment, and I will see everyone in the next episode. Catch you guys later.